Oh, hello and welcome to the August 11th, 2024 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, I am finally putting some money into this little pet project of mine. We're on every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay. We're here on Facebook where you can catch us live. You can view previous episodes here, or you can view them on our YouTube page. We are still working on cross-platforming live streams between Facebook and YouTube, and we thank you all so much for your patience. We are working on it. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back into the world. Several of our articles are pulled from goodnewsnetwork.org, but we get other articles that we appreciate sent in by you, the viewers. So, hello everybody and welcome. Sorry we are starting just a little bit late. I have already been called out for it in the chat by Sean, appropriately. It does get to be a tiny bit when I'm late like this, but you know, it happens. I've been traveling a lot lately, and yeah, for all the right reasons, and so puts me behind on a few things, but here we are. We're ready to go. We've got a brand new daylight curtains up, or no daylight or anti-daylight curtains, effectively. One of our members of our production team, Grayson, has been telling me that part of the camera's autofocusing problems has been because of the blinds. So I decided to just cut the blinds out and cover them up completely now. So we've got brand new, nice day, 0 day curtains up. I really like them. I love the nautical theme. I've always loved nautical themes. So hopefully they look good. Thank you, Cassidy, saying I'm good at it. I reached streamer status when Casey says I've reached streamer status when chat calls me out on being late. Look, I'm happy for it. I'm happy for all the interaction. I thank you all so much. So, and Sean is correct. He says my start time should be 2058. So that as the 2 minute countdown ends for the live streams, I'm starting right at 9 o'clock. I will strive to do this in the future just for you, Sean. So, let's get into our broadcast. Our news brew is a big one. I was recently in Illinois visiting friends, and I went to a Binny's and found a beer that I've never seen before. And I'm very excited for it because every season for me is Stout season. So I got my hands on Maple Whiskey Barrel-Aged B.O.R.I.S, which is a Oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout at 9.4% ABV. It's aged in maple whiskey barrels. I've had a few B.O.R.I.S's before. There's a large number of variations for it. It's from Hoppin Frog Brewing Company. I am really looking forward to this beer. It may not be the highest ABV beer that I've had, but still looking towards it. So we've got our nice limited edition Harpoon Snifter. I know, Sean said it sounds tasty. It does indeed. No need for the Balisong bottle opener because we've got a can. And now the theatrics of the 5-minute pour. It's actually a little lighter on the pour than I expected. I was kind of expecting the motor oil that we got last time, but this is okay. It's a beautiful dark color. Hello, Charlie. Charlie just checked in the chat. Good to the last drop. Get every little bit of that goodness out. Oh my God. That's a good beer. Beautiful color. Just dark as could be. Brown head on it. Set that down. Wow. It kind of is the color of used motor oil, as Sean just said. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Shout outs. So, do you want some fine wine or cider? By all means, head down to Fox Hen Winery on Fridays and Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. If you want to catch me, I'll be there this Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So swing on by, have some fantastic wine. Links are in the description for Fox and Hen Winery, or Fox and Hen Vineyards. A couple of different interchangeable names. Another one, my friend Travis recently got himself out of an absolutely terrible situation. and he got himself into a brand new apartment, and I am very proud of him. I am very proud of you, Travis, for taking life by the reins and getting yourself out of a bad situation and into a much better one. You've got a brand new apartment to go into. I am wishing you the best. So, Travis, congratulations and cheers. You get the first sip. Oh my gosh. Oh. We got a live shout out. Charlie in the chat saying we got to give a shout out to Charlie's buddy Ryan. Ryan walked with the vets in the Dallas Pride Parade over the weekend. Hey, to Ryan, cheers. That is awesome, Charlie. Sean owes me a shirt pic. I sent him a really cool shirt that I found. I cannot wait to see it on him. Last shout out. So recently, I've been doing a lot of traveling, and reconnecting with a lot of folks that I had not seen in a while or had not talked to in a while. Some are still on my to see list. Others I'll be seeing them next month. So I can't thank everybody enough for your help, your wisdom, and your care. Life's been rough at times, and we all go through some stuff. And I really can't thank all of you enough that have been there and helping me along a very difficult time in my life. So thank you very much. To all of you, to friends, cheers. Do I need some Kleenex? Is something on my lip? I think Sean's trolling me. Doesn't seem like anything's on my lip. You know, it's interesting. I haven't seen the camera auto adjust once. Oh, did it just auto adjust? Did it just do it as I was saying it? It looks like it's doing okay now. Maybe we've figured out the camera situation. Oh, excuse me. So that... Oh, he thinks I'm going to cry. Sean thinks I'm going to cry. No, I'm not going to cry yet. Maybe when I get through this news quote, because this news quote, what I just said with helping hands and friendship goes right into this news quote. So get ready for this, y'all. And I had to go over it a few times, and I had to write it down because it's big. And I may not look directly into the camera while I say it, but I'll definitely try. When life gets hard, it's sometimes difficult to remember the friends, family, and loved ones that exist around you and are there for you. And sometimes the most daunting task is to allow others to help you when you need it most. But in my experience, you'll be better for it afterwards. I promise. So, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff changing in a short period of time, a lot of adjusting, and I can't thank everybody enough who has reached out or has given me the space I need, depending on what the situation is, to heal and to be better. So, again, when life gets hard, it's sometimes difficult to remember the friends, family, and loved ones that exist around you and are there for you. And sometimes the most daunting task is to allow others to help you when you need it most. But you'll be better for it afterwards. I promise. And that is from myself, Nicholas Fiore, process engineer, amateur entomologist and meteorologist, beer enthusiast, and Nick's News host. To everybody out there, to all the friends of friends, family, and loved ones, cheers. And with that, we're going to get into our articles. our good news. Now, our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the nice feely articles we like to end on. So, we are going to start off in category 1, science and technology. I call this one Fat Stacks. It comes to us from goodgoodgood.co. And I will copy and paste this into the chat. If y'all want to read along. Scientists develop 3D printed waffle stacks found to remove 75% of forever chemicals from water. This article was posted on August 6th of 2024. Scientists from the University of Bath have just debuted a new invention. I'm going to scoot up a little bit here. A new invention that removes toxic chemicals from polluted water. And it looks a whole lot like your favorite frozen waffles or a clump of dried instant noodles. Their invention is a structure designed of lattices 3D printed with ceramic ink and specially treated to bond with toxic chemicals. Got a little sidetracked. Julie said that they love my new background. Julia, thank you very much. I'm proud of those curtains. I've had those curtains forever. They've just been sitting in my garage. I'm so happy that they're up now. Back to the waffles. These structures, which are being called monoliths, can remove up to 75% of forever chemicals in polluted water in just 3 hours, according to their research, which was recently published in the Chemical Engineering Journal. The monoliths specifically target perfluorooctane. Dang it. This is why you proofread your articles. So the monoliths specifically target perfluorooctanoic acid, or PFOA, which is one of the most common perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFOS, from water. Additionally, researchers concluded the structures get better at their job the more they're used. If streamlined, the monoliths could become an important tool in future efforts to eliminate the chemicals from water supplies. PFAS, or forever chemicals, are a major focus in water treatment and public health, Dr. Liana Zampoli, a research associate in Bath's Department of Chemical Engineering, said in a statement. We have created an efficient way to remove these chemicals from water without using lots of energy. As seen on previous episodes of Nick's News, we have done several articles about removing PFAS and breaking it down. Some methods have been more energy intensive than others. I think the last episode, the August 4th episode, we actually had an article that showed a really promising new technology for breaking it down that costs very little energy. So another step in the right direction with removing these chemicals from our environments. These forever chemicals are indeed a major concern across both environmental and public health sectors. In fact, PFAS are called forever chemicals because they can take up to 1,000 years to break down. The man-made substances are also known for causing health issues in reproductive, developmental, and cardiovascular systems. Looking at some of the chat real quick. All right. Even worse, they're nearly everywhere, appearing in domestic products like non-stick pans, fabrics, paints, and even food and beauty products. Because they are so ubiquitous in everyday use, PFAS have been found in bloodstreams, semen, and can even build up in the liver. PFAS are also linked to various cancers and diabetes, especially when found in drinking water. It's clear that removing these toxic chemicals is of urgent concern to health and environmental experts, and the monoliths developed by UK researchers represent a beacon of hope. But how do they work? First, the ceramic ink material that is printed with 3D printers is infused with indium oxide, which bonds with PFAS molecules. The monoliths are then soaked in polluted water for a period of time, and when they are removed, a large amount of the chemicals are removed with them. Following each use, the monoliths undergo high-temperature thermal regeneration at 500 degrees Celsius. to remove the PFAS from the structure, making them ready to reuse for another round of detoxification. Now, what is that in units of people that have landed on the moon? Let's see. 500 Celsius to Fahrenheit. 932 degrees Fahrenheit. Using 3D printing to create the monoliths is relatively simple, and it also means the process should be scalable, Zampulli explained. In the chat, Russell, who I know is also an engineer, stated that this will massively aid, how do you pronounce that word, Russell? Is it leachate tanks? I know what those are, I just don't know I know what they are, I just don't know how to pronounce them. I'll keep moving while the chat catches up. 3D printing allows us to create objects with a high surface area, which is key to the process. Once the monoliths are ready, you simply drop them into the water and let them do their work. It's very exciting and something we are keen to develop further and see in use. Leachate. Leachate. Or leachate. From Sean and from Russell. Thank you both very much. In initial testing, the monoliths were able to remove 53% of PFAS from water in 3 hours. After regeneration treatment, they were surprisingly even better at cleaning the water, and by a third cycle, the monoliths were removing 75% of the toxic chemicals. Each monolith is about 4 centimeters in size, and its ceramic lattice structures almost appears like a punch of toothpaste squeezed from a tube. Their ability to remove 75% of PFAS from water is also compatible with current water treatment plants in the UK, according to the university. Currently, these chemicals are not strongly regulated in the UK in drinking water, but there are guidelines, and we expect changes in policy quite soon, co-author David Matty added in a statement. Water companies are likely to be looking at integrating systems to deal with them. Next, the team of researchers will continue to further refine the monoliths to increase their efficiency and best understand how this technology can be implemented in wastewater treatment facilities. The effectiveness, robustness, and reusability of the 3D printed indium oxide monoliths highlight their potential as an efficient and sustainable absorbent for PFAS removal, the researchers wrote in the abstract of their study. And later in their research, they shared the exciting conclusion: this study represents a significant step forward, toward the development of practical and efficient solutions for mitigating the environmental impacts of PFAS contamination, offering an environmentally sustainable and effective solution for PFAS remediation. That is fantastic. To everybody involved, from the Bath Department of Chemical Engineering, including Dr. Liana Zampulli. Cheers. Wait, am I looking right at the camera? Is it looking at the camera? Cheers. All right, that's going to get us out of Category 1. We're going to move on to Category 2, Health and Medicine. I call this article, How Would You Like to Regenerate Like Wolverine? It's a little bit cooler than that. Or maybe not. I'm not sure. But I'll copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Nanofiber molecules help repair cartilage damage in joints by regenerating tissue. A team at Northwestern University has come up with the term dancing molecules to describe an invention of synthetic nanofibers which they say have the potential to quicken the regeneration of cartilage damage beyond what our body is capable of. The moniker was coined back in November of 2021 when the same team, I forgot to mention, this is a Good News Network article which was posted on August 5th of 2024. Okay, back into the article. The moniker was coined back in 2021 of November when the same team introduced an injection of these molecules to repair tissues and reverse paralysis after severe spinal cord injuries in mice. Now they've applied the same therapeutic strategy to damaged human cartilage cells. In a new study published in the Journal of the American Chemical Society, the treatment activated the gene expression necessary to regenerate cartilage within just 4 hours. The chat is blowing up. Everybody needs cartilage repair, various parts and pieces. I agree. I have a bit of a clicky knee, so cartilage would be great. And after only 3 days, the human cells produced protein components needed for cartilage regeneration, something humans can't do in adulthood. The conceptual mechanisms of the dancing molecules work through cellular receptors located on the exterior of the cell membrane. These receptors are the gateways for thousands of compounds that run a myriad of processes in biology, but they exist in dense crowds constantly moving about on the cell membrane. The dancing molecules quickly form synthetic nanofibers that move according to their chemical structure. They mimic the extracellular matrix of the surrounding tissue, and by dancing, these fibers can keep up with the movement of the cell receptors. By adding biological signaling receptors, the whole assemblage can functionally move and communicate with cells like natural biology. This is crazy. Cellular receptors constantly move around, said Northwestern professor of material sciences Samuel Stupp, who led the study. By making our molecules move, dance, or even leap temporarily out of these structures, known as supramolecular polymers, they are able to connect more effectively with receptors. The target of their work is the nearly 530 million people around the globe living with osteoarthritis, a degenerative disease in which tissues and joints break down over time, resulting in one of the most common forms of morbidity and disability. Current treatments aim to slow disease progression or postpone inevitable joint replacement, Stupp said. There are no regenerative options because humans do not have an inherent capacity to regenerate cartilage in adulthood. In the new study, Stupp and his team looked to the receptors for a specific protein that's critical for cartilage formation and maintenance. To target this receptor, the team developed a new circular peptide that mimics the bioactive signal of the protein, which is called transforming growth factor beta 1, which is really cool. But from here on out, we're going to call it TGFB1 because it's shorter. Northwestern University Press then reported that the researchers incorporated this peptide into 2 different molecules that interact to form supramolecular polymers in water, each with the same ability to mimic TGFB1. The researchers designed one supramolecular polymer with a special structure that enabled its molecules to move more freely within the large assemblies. The other supramolecular polymer, however, restricted molecular movement. We wanted to modify the structure in order to compare 2 systems that differ in the extent of their motion, Stupp said. The intensity of supramolecular motion is in one is much greater than the motion in the other one. Although both polymers mimicked the signal to activate the TGFB1 receptor, the polymer with rapidly moving molecules was much more effective. In some ways, they were even more effective than the protein that activates the TGFB1 receptor in nature, so the polymer we built was better than its natural substitute. Take that, nature. After 3 days, the human cells exposed to the long assemblies of more mobile molecules produced greater amounts of the protein components necessary for cartilage regeneration, Stupp said. With the success of the study in human cartilage cells, we predict that cartilage regeneration will be greatly enhanced when used in highly translational preclinical models, Stupp said. It should develop into a novel bioactive material for regeneration of cartilage tissue in joints. We are beginning to see the tremendous breadth of conditions that this fundamental discovery on dancing molecules could apply to, Stupp said. Controlling supramolecular motion through chemical design appears to be a powerful tool to increase efficacy for a range of regenerative therapies. That is crazy. A lot of folks in the chat blowing up over the potential for cartilage repair, and I'm right there with you. That's huge. This is huge science. To everybody at Northwestern University working on this, on cartilage regeneration. Cheers. Welcome back, Sean. Sean has returned to the chat. This next one I called Carrying the Torch. We've got the Olympics going on right now as of the recording of this episode, and this was a really cool article and a step in the right direction for health and medicine. So I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. This article comes from Design News and was posted on July 26th of 2024. Kevin Piet carried the Olympic torch via a robotic exoskeleton. Paraplegic Kevin Piet used a robotic self-stabilizing exoskeleton from Wandercraft to walk hands-free with the Olympic torch during the relay. Kevin Piet, a paraplegic athlete, made history by carrying the Olympic torch in an exoskeleton during the Paris Olympics. Piet's hands-free walk demonstrated technical innovation, showing off the merging of sports and technology. The exoskeleton, developed by French engineering company Wandercraft, is a wearable robotic suit that enables Piet to overcome his mobility limitations while carrying the Olympic torch. By carrying the torch, Piet demonstrated to those with disabilities that obstacles can be overcome with determination and innovation. In spite of an accident that left him paraplegic 11 years ago, Piet, who's 36, has persisted as a para-athlete competing in tennis. As one of the first testers of the exoskeleton, Piet has contributed to its improvement, even taking part in cybathlons, competitions in which people with disabilities use assistive technologies to carry out everyday activities. Wandercraft's self-balancing exoskeleton recently received its second FDA clearance. The exoskeleton is now available in the U.S. for rehabilitation patients with spinal cord injuries. The FDA clearance is supported by safety and effectiveness data of Atalanti X in patients with SCI at levels T5 through L5 and has been evaluated in more than 500 patients, including clinical trials and real-world evidence. The FDA's previous clearance of Atalanti X for cerebrovascular accident, or CVA, in December of 2022 combines with the recent unveiling of the company's personal exoskeleton designed to one day replace the wheelchair. The FDA clearance validates the potential of Wandercraft's technology and its potential in the global medical device market. Julie in the chat says, this makes me this much closer, me as in Nick, makes me this much closer to making my Iron Man suit. And Sean followed that up with, don't give me any clues. Charlie followed that up with, don't encourage me. I'll never get out of it. No, I wouldn't. If I built like a suit of Mjolnir armor or an Iron Man armor, I think it'd be very difficult to get me out of it. I would just have too much fun clomping around. So, to Kevin Piet, para-athlete, and to Wandercraft for making an amazing exoskeleton that's bringing us closer to getting rid of the wheelchair. Cheers. Doing some reactions to some of the chat, and we will move on. We are going to get out of health and technology, or health and medicine, and we're going to bounce into category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. Oh, what did I call this first one? I called this first one Seeing with the Sea Lions. But I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Sea lion camera crews help scientists map unexplored seabeds. This article was posted on popsci.com. It was posted on August 7th of 2024. Scientists have a new ally helping them explore the ocean's seabeds. Sea lions. A team in Australia, of course it was the Australians, recruited endangered Australian sea lions, Neophoco cinerea, to carry video cameras down to this little explored region of the ocean. The videos helped the team identify some previously unmapped sea lion habitats in the benthic zone, or the lowest ecological zone in a body of water. The pinniped-assisted findings are described in a study published August 7th in the journal Frontiers in Marine Science. Our knowledge of the sandy and rocky bottom of the seas is quite patchy. Dives with remotely operated underwater vehicles, or ROVs, like Alvin or Jason Jr. from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution can be costly and logistically prohibitive. The vehicles are expensive and require certain weather conditions to dive. It is also difficult for humans to get to deep and remote offshore habitats even with high-tech submersibles. Using animal-borne video and movement data from a benthic predator is an effective way of mapping, there's a little fruit fly, of mapping diverse benthic habitats across large areas of the seabed. Nathan Angelakis, a study co-author and PhD student with the University of Adelaide and the South Australian Research and Development Institute, said in a statement. These data are useful both for mapping critical habitats for an endangered species such as the Australian sea lion, and more broadly for mapping unexplored areas of the seabed. In the study, 8 adult female Australian sea lions from the Olive Island and Seal Bay colonies were equipped with small and lightweight cameras. The team glued the cameras and tracking instruments on small pieces of neoprene, the material that most wetsuits are made of, that were then attached to the sea lion's fur. In total, the filming and tracking equipment weighed less than 1% of the sea lion's body weight, so it didn't really slow him down. This prevented additional drag and allowed them to move without restriction. The sea lions took recordings over 2 or 3 days. Julie says, I hope they paid the camera crew well in fish. Maybe don't shrimp on it. That's fantastic. We deployed the instruments on adult females so we could recover the equipment a few days later when they returned to land to nurse their pups, said Angelakis. We used satellite-linked GPS loggers on the sea lions, which meant we could track their position in real time and knew when they had returned to the colony. Why is that popping up? Just noticed something else was popping up constantly. There we go. Took care of it. In total, the team gathered 89 hours of animal-borne video. The researchers identified 6 benthic habitats: microalgae reef, microalgae meadow, bare sand, sponge sand, invertebrate reefs, and invertebrate boulders. Back on dry land, the team used machine learning models to predict the large habitat areas across the continental shelf off of southern Australia. They did this by incorporating data on oceanographic and environmental factors collected over 21 years into the models, so a ton of data being fed into these things. These factors may be important drives of the structure and distribution of these habitats. The sea lions from both locations covered quite broad areas around the colonies. In our calculations, we kept the area in which we predicted habitats small to maximize the precision of our predictions, Angelakis said. This allowed us to model benthic habitats across more than 5,000 square kilometers, or 1,930 square miles for those of us that landed on the moon, of the continental shelf. The sea lion cams also filmed different habitats than in some of the previous mapped regions of South Australia. The pinnipeds may not use or swim through certain habitats or have a preference for some areas over others, and the researchers also point out that some of the regions may have been missed. However, the footage still fills in some knowledge gaps about the seabeds, while providing critical information about endangered marine species. Marine populations declined by more than 60% over the past 40 years. This method can also be used to survey and assess the other marine species of interest that the sea lions caught on camera. According to the team, assessing a marine environment from a predator's perspective instead of a human's can improve our understanding of the benthic environment and develop a more complete map of the seabed. To everybody involved, from this Australian team sticking cameras on sea lions to get a look at the seafloor, cheers. This next one I titled, Congratulations, it's a gorilla. And this comes from Charlie. So Charlie, thank you very much for this article. I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Critically endangered gorilla born at Columbus Zoo. This article was posted to ABC6, and it came out on July 7th of 2024. Oh, I'm sorry, it was updated on July 7th of 2024. The Columbus Zoo and Aquarium welcomed another baby gorilla. The zoo said the baby was... Oh, just a moment. Why is that screaming? What is going on here? There we go. The zoo said the baby western lowland gorilla was born to the first-time mother, Sue, and experienced father, Katembe. This is the 35th gorilla to be born at the Columbus Zoo. Sue is currently bonding with the newborn under the watch of the animal care team. The baby's sex will be determined at a later date. The zoo's indoor Congo expedition region will be closed for several days to provide the gorillas more privacy, but other gorillas will be available for viewing at the outdoor habitat. Families may be able to see the newborn starting July 8th from 11 a.m. until close, though the troop may travel to the behind-the-scenes areas at times out of view. For months, our care team has been busy preparing for the baby's arrival, and we are thrilled that the time has finally come to welcome this important new addition. With tiny hands and beautiful big brown eyes that melt our hearts, this baby is absolutely precious in regard to both the cuteness factor and what the baby represents for this species' future. We are proud of the dedication of our care teams who diligently work to provide the gorillas with top quality care and well-being while continuing the legacy of the Columbus Zoo's renowned gorilla program, said Audra Mainelt, curator of the Columbus Zoo's Congo Expedition region. That is fantastic. The 35th baby gorilla born at the Columbus Zoo, thanks to their amazing program of their breeding program for gorillas. So to everybody at the Columbus Zoo, to Mother Sue and Father Katembe, and to Charlie for sending in this article, cheers. With that, we're going to get out of flora and fauna, and we are going to bounce into category 4, the wholesome note. This one is one of the typical repeatable titles that we use. Not all heroes wear capes. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. North Okanagan teen firefighter leads Jasper hikers to safety. This was posted in the Nelson Star. It was posted July 26th of 2024. An 18-year-old Enderby firefighter put on a display of heroics when she swiftly rounded up people in Jasper National Park, getting them safely away from an encroaching wildfire. Colleen Null, a volunteer firefighter at the Enderby Fire Department, was working a summer job at the Jasper Lodge in the park. She has less than 1 year of experience as a firefighter and was off duty on that July 22nd night, but that didn't stop her from taking charge of a dangerous situation. An evacuation order was issued for the area that night, but Null said she saw the danger signs before it was issued. My first indication that there was a fire was we had noticed smoke coming up from the mountainside, and during my previous training in wildfire, I used some of the knowledge that I obtained from that and applied it to read the smoke, wind directions, and how close it was, she said. She got an alert of the fire texted to her by a family friend, and about 15 minutes later, an evacuation order was issued for Jasper National Park. After receiving the order to evacuate, Null started knocking on cabin doors, waking up the guests at the lodge. Then I was notified that there was a hiker campground just above us, and they had no way of knowing that we needed to evacuate, she said. So I walked 5 minutes up the trail and then proceeded to evacuate everybody out of that area and bring them down into the rest of the group. From there, she led a total of 16 people on a 4-hour hike through difficult terrain to where her truck was parked. Noel relied on her knowledge of the area and her firefighting training to lead the people through the dark to safety. I had taken that trail previously, like a week before on horseback up to the lodge, and made note that there were 67 logs that we had to cut to clear the trail on the way up. So on the way down, I knew there would be 67 logs we had to get past, she explained. Upon reaching her truck, she crammed everyone in and drove through a road closure and into town, with the RCMP guiding her to where she could drop the people off safely. She then drove 6 hours to her hometown of Enderby. She credits her time spent in the bush when she was growing up as having prepared her for the emergency, as well as her gut feeling that danger was imminent. When you get that feeling that something's off, you don't ignore it, she said. She also managed to keep things light during the ordeal. The situation had to be taken seriously, but in a way where nobody would panic or get scared, so we kept everything calm. I told a couple of jokes along the way and had a couple good laughs, but everybody got out safely, which was the main thing that I was going for. Null said it was a team effort with good communication that helped get everyone out of the area safely, and she credits the training she's received from both the Enderby Fire Department and her mom Tina for preparing her. Enderby Fire Chief Cliff Vetter told the Morning Star that Null is a dedicated team member and a real go-getter. When he heard the news of Null's heroics in Jasper, he said he simply thought, "That's her." That is fantastic. To Colleen Null, who helped to rescue 16 people from the path of a wildfire. You are a hero. Cheers. Well, that about wraps everything up for tonight. 6 great articles, really good stuff. Thank you to the ones sent in. Thank you, Charlie, for the article that was sent in, and everyone else for your support and everything that you've sent in to me. It's been fantastic. I thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page or checking out the Nick's News YouTube page. We're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be on August 18th of 2024. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can send in suggestions for news brews, for shout-outs, for news quotes, and especially for good news articles that we can present on future episodes of our show. If possible, I do appreciate a variety of articles spread out across our categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and the wholesome notes, the nice articles that we like to end on. You can either message us here on Facebook, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment on our Facebook and YouTube videos. We want to get good news and joy out into the algorithm. We're still trying to figure out how the algorithm works, but I know that liking, subscribing, commenting, those things help. I'm not going to tell you to do it. I do, however, greatly appreciate it. So thank you all so much. That's about it. As always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I am going to play us out.